done.
Okay.
So, Teresa said, you know, our initial plan, a kind of an update on United, and also talk a lot about our partner agencies and how we support them and how they support the community. You know, their needs, whether it's monetary or whether it's through volunteers, as she talked about. And, you know, as we said, right now, obviously, we're of this pandemic, and that we work with, and these they are multi demand on their services have increased beyond normal, and they're also feeling the financial impact of this. You know, whether it was grants, the fact that they couldn't hold a major fundraiser, not being able to have activities such as that. So we'll just kind of start out here, and I thought it would be good to give everyone a bit of knowledge about the United Way of Fairfield County. So our mission is to improve lives through the caring power of our community. United Ways are all individual entities. So the easiest way for me to know how to describe it is we're like a franchise. Everyone's familiar with United Way as a not only a national but a worldwide organization. It's really a bunch of smaller organizations create and operate for the. So what we do, the United Way is focused on 3 bold goals, and that's how we work with our partners. We're passionate about education, and you can see the different areas that we look to benefit the community there. You know, we're focused on the youth, academic success, and you know, really helping to improve readiness. Financial stability, this is the one that probably most people hear about the most. This is kind of where the shelter entries, anything like that, basically, or help find those things. And health, I think the last bullet kind of really says it, whether it's health, we just want to make sure people that are seeking care, that they are seeking. So really how this all works, you know, we have our agency partners and programs that we work with. You have, you know, the United Way bold goals with ultimately, you know, the pinnacle of all this is we're helping people learn to be self-sufficient in their world, in their own lives. What is the path to self-sufficient? We've kind of talked about some of these: academic success, community engagement, college alternatives, livable environment, workforce ready. These are things that we feel like are key to people finding ways. We often hear talk about how do we find ways to make people go from donors of the United Way, or I'm sorry, people that need the services of the United Way, to becoming donors to United Way to help the next person that needs help. A little bit. So, you know, we talked about we have all these partners, then we'll get to those because that's kind of key on why we're here today. But I also thought it was a good time programming. We have Career Closet for Women at the Salvation Army. Unfortunately, it's shut down right now with everything going on, but it's basically free career for women that are either in a career or looking to interview for a career so that they help them get ready. The state has found a new passion, or a passion for Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. This basically is children birth to 5 get a book once a month, and the parent commits to reading that book to them to encourage early literacy. The state has come in and they have actually agreed to pay half of this. We pay the other half. So we literally, since he made that announcement, our people that are utilizing that. FAFSA, I know Teresa, you just mentioned having an 18-year-old. I have an 18-year-old. Any of you with coming to that, that can be sometimes intimidating. So we help support the kids and their parents when they're filling out their FAFSA forms. Feeding Our Future, kids on the weekends that are part of the free lunch programs at a lot of our county schools to ensure that they're getting some nutrition over the weekends as well. This has become very important today because we've continued this service and expanded it a little bit and gotten creative with how we're getting that food out. But again, you know, we want to make sure they're still getting food when they need it. Income tax preparation. This kind of got turned upside down this year. We were in the midst of doing all kinds of tax returns, and with the COVID-19 crisis, we had to shut down the program. I want to say we still got near 600 tax returns done. To give you a comparison, last year I think we did around 1,800, and it created millions of dollars in tax refunds that our Fairfield County residents were able to use for their household needs or benefit the economy of Fairfield County. And then professional development courses, those in the academic world, educators, there's a lot of to keep up with, whether it's, you know, CPR or certain professional training they have to do, and they typically have to pay that out of their own pocket. So our goal is to try to offer those so that they don't have pockets. So those are the programs that the United Way actually threw in community in. Not only fund, but operate as well. So now kind of a little more why we're here, our partners. And from our standpoint, they do a lot of things, but when, you know, the relationship with us is typically focused on our bold goals and how they can impact those. So some of our different partners here, we have American Red Cross, Big Brothers Big Sisters. American Red Cross, we partner with them for disaster relief for residents. Big Brothers Big Sisters, we'll actually show their video here in a minute. Boy Scouts of America, we help kids get to their camps in the summer. Again, hopefully they'll be able to find a creative way to help these kids this summer to still get some of that mentoring that is so beneficial. And we work with them on their food pantry. And then the Fairfield Center for Disabilities and Cerebral Palsy, we have 2 programs with them. Actually, we help them with transportation for early to get to medical appointments, and then we also provide them funding for their adult day service that need support with that as well. So I'm going to try to flip out here, and we're going to try to share.
I discovered quite by accident that almost everything I suggested that we do or that he wanted to do, he had never done before.
It's just important because there's a lot of kids out there who, like I've went through, lost a family member who was dear to them and needed somebody else.
Then on behalf of Seth and his family, one-on-one, it takes a long time. It takes work and effort, but the rewards of changing one life, one family are well worth it.
So that's a video to kind of give you an idea of the impact of Big Brothers Big Sisters program as we keep going through here. So keep in mind, we have 24 different partners that we actually fund and about 30 total programs, including those that we talked about earlier that the United Way operates itself. Fairhope Hospice with their palliative care, Foundation Dinners, providing meals to those that need them. Girl Scouts, also a mentoring program for girls in our community. Harcum House, we have a couple of programs with them as well. They deal with a very sensitive area. Many times that, they're dealing with children had to deal with some form of abuse. So there's mentoring and help there. And then there's also training that we provide that they partner with the YMCA that has been very beneficial to people of learning how to maybe see the signs of a child that maybe has been and help. Information or referral 211. This is a countywide program that if you're not aware of this, it was initiated by United Way, and they provide, basically they are the go-to. If you dial 211, they can help you find what you need. Food, shelter, health services, guide you in the right direction. So a great service for the community, a quick one-stop resource for people to utilize. Fairfield Community Action, we work with them on several things as well, some housing, their food pantry programs like that. So that's beneficial as well. Lighthouse shelters victims of domestic violence. Lutheran Social Services has a homeless shelter and a food pantry as well that we work with. Maywood Mission, we partner with them for their daycare services. Mid-Ohio Psychological Services has a therapeutic program where, in essence, they're teaching young kids, certain etiquettes and skills that they may not be able to get at home or more of a challenge at home. New Horizon Mental Health Services, I know these are on several of the schools, including Pickerington schools. They have the SOS program, Signs of Suicide. They come in and they meet with classes in the high schools and go through a program, and then also then kind of do some monitoring to see if there's anyone at risk that they should reach out to see if they're struggling. So I was blown away actually when I saw this at one point, that they have roughly 30 to 33% of the kids with the questionnaire just to make sure they are okay. And then we also work with the Pickerington Food Pantry. They provide food in the Pickerington area. Our grant helps provide their facility. We basically cover their rent. Get back here and I can show you.
So I got to meet Alan Federer when he first came to the food pantry seeking assistance from us. And what I found out from Alan is that he's a retired veteran, and in his time with the Navy, he lost many friends. A job. Disability. Able to eat. It's one of the few things that he's able to enjoy in life. And by being able to come to the food pantry, he says that's the one bill he's able to afford without having the support from the United Way. And being able to come to the food pantry, he would have to do without that luxury for himself. But he says he would make ends meet. Thank you, United Way, for your support of the Pickerington Food Pantry.
So we also have Pickerington Schools where we fund Project Wise. And my joke on this one is I know stands for, but I constantly forget. I can tell you what the program does. It helps kids in junior high transitioning from, so they're going from, elementary school to junior high, and they may be having some academic struggle. So it's a very specific tutoring program that's done by teachers in the school district to help bring them up, and their success rate has been phenomenal to the point that we've really encouraged other schools program the success they've had in helping kids transition from elementary to middle and then on to high school to much improved grades and graduation rates. The Recovery Center, they have do many things there, but the program that we support training, so it's training kids on the dangers of computer use and social media use and to understand the risk involved with that. The local family wide, we deal with, we offer community memberships for people that can't afford them. We deal with their daycare services as well. So a lot of different things there. Salvation Army, again, an organization that does many, many things. We actually support them in their adult day services locally as well. TeenWorks, this is a county program that I really like. It's workforce development. And, we can show a video on that in a minute. And then Wesley serves some of our Fairfield County residents that also need adult day services. And what they do is they offer, the family pays for a certain amount of days, and with the United Way funds, they're able to provide a free day as well to kind of ease the burden of the cost of those services. Works. I'll share a video from them as well.
John came to us as a freshman in high school. He was 15 years old, really wanted to do that. And they were he can very hard. Good things about him. So at 15, he now has the confidence to now go out into the world of work, and if he doesn't stay there forever, he has that confidence that I can do this and go to his next thing.
So that's a little bit about TeenWorks, and from my past experience in the banking world, I really like that one because it has a workforce ready focus to it. So, what is the focus of all of these agencies? They're trying to understand the pressing needs in our community. We want to set short-term and long-term goals for success for our community and share accountability for results. They, make sure that these agencies are regularly reporting their accomplishments so that we can share that with the community. So how to help businesses and individuals. So this is the chance, maybe some of the challenges we face. So, the first one's kind of, I guess, what everyone knows, your dollars, right? Every nonprofit thrives off the donations they collect. So how can that be done? Donate organizations. United Way, we run workplace campaigns. So if you're a business owner or you work at a business, they may encourage them to run a campaign. It's typically functioned in the fall and driven by the primary way to do that is a payroll deduction. So it's kind of one of those check goes to meet the services of all of those agencies. So, you know, through the United Way Workplace Campaign, you can designate to anything you want. But if you give a general donation to the United Way, I'm going to support all 24 agencies and 30 that are all important to our community. Event sponsorship, many operate, you know, we do this as well. Most will run events to try to raise money, and they typically like to have sponsors for those events. So it's a good way to get your business recognition, a nonprofit in your community, and the fundraiser support itself. Attend the event, be supportive. You know, I know Pickerington Food Pantry has their gala. You buy tickets to that, you go to the dinner, you get to network. We have our 5K in November where you come and you get to participate in the run and network with people. So, you know, you're supporting the organization by attending their fundraising event. And then legacy gifts. To touch on this just a little bit, you know, we have endowment agencies may, but then you can give to those endowments utilizing the earnings off the money to operate rather than the money itself. But there's also other ways of legacy gifts, whether it's through estate gifts, life insurance gifts. There's different things that can be set up, and be more than happy to talk to others about that. But it's kind of a whole topic in itself, but it's another way that you can help support nonprofits in our community. You know, every dollar has impact. A lot of times people will say, well, you know, I can't really give that much, so matter. Well, here's some examples of what a smaller donation can make. $1 a week will provide shelter for a mother for a week at the Lighthouse. $3 per week. I've been here 2 years, and this one blows me away. Pantries can stretch $1. So if you give $3 a week, they can turn that into over $1,500 worth of food in a year. $5 school-based match will provide 6 months of school-based match through Big Brothers Big Sisters. And $10 per week, you can cover 30 patient visits for healthcare, free healthcare by the Way Clinic. So again, not huge gifts, but way that can make tremendous impact. The other way to give back is your time. And Teresa hit on this a little bit earlier. You know, a lot of our senior citizens tend to be key elements for all of our agencies and ourselves for finding volunteers. And that's going to perhaps become more of a challenge in the current environment. But ways you can help them with your operational needs. Every nonprofit, just to give you an example, so the mark for nonprofits is to be at 25% less administrative expenses. Now think about your own business or for-profit businesses and only spending 25% of your money on how you make advertising successful, and that's what we're trying to achieve. So many of them are very small, have very small staffs, so they're doing a lot with a little. So anytime they can get help with just general operational needs, it is very beneficial. We need a labor at our events. We had an event. Encourage you all to go next year in January. I think it's the end of January. Buckeye Lake Winery was kind enough to have United Way be the charity of choice for their polar plunge. But one of the things we did is we needed to provide labor for their event. We needed people to park cars. We needed people to do registration. So there's different things like that for when they run their events. And again, the fundraiser support. How can I step up and help activity or way, you know, some sort of resource they're trying to utilize? How can I be benefit them in that manner? Helping them with their community engagement initiatives. And just being, you know, our board members, one of the things they sign on is agree to be an advocate for the United Way of Fairfield County. And when they're in the community, ensure that people support United Way and talk about what United Way does. So those are ways you can provide and support them with your time. Here are some snapshots from an event we hold every year. We're crossing this fall, time will tell, but it's our community care day. We typically have 400 volunteers in the county on anywhere from 40 to 50 projects, depending on the year, where they go out for an entire day and help nonprofits do the things that kind of they can't get to. You know, it's usually cleanup type projects or reorganizing, all kinds of different projects. But just a great fun day in our community. We started off our work and send everyone out into the community to work on different projects, but a lot of fun for people. How can you learn more about us and the agencies we support and what they do? Well, our website is a great place to be for that. We're on Facebook. We have done a great Spires, and Beth and I have also gotten much better at posting things that we have going on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, so that people can stay up to date on what we have going on and what we're doing with the different nonprofits. I would also say we have, I'd be remiss, and I'm going to share a message from Bob can share with the Fairfield County Foundation and United Way, that during this time of crisis, we created the Fairfield County COVID-19 Relief Fund. I will play a video from Bob to explain a little more about that and how it works.
Hi, I'm Bob Competti, the 2020 campaign chair for the United Way of Fairfield County, and I'm asking for just a couple minutes of your time to talk to you about the Fairfield County COVID-19 Relief Fund. It's been established to provide grant resources to qualified charitable organizations operating here in Fairfield County that are directly supporting residents whose basic needs are going unmet due to this virus. It's a partnership between the Fairfield County Foundation Way of Fairfield County. They've teamed up to manage the collection and distribution of funds, working together with community stakeholders and advisors. The goal of this fund is to provide resources, flexible resources, to qualified charitable organizations operating here in Fairfield. So how can we help? Any one of us, individuals, businesses, foundations, organizations, we can make charitable contributions to this fund, assisting those in need. And it will go directly to local COVID-19. United Way of Fairfield County webpage or the Fairfield County Foundation webpage. Or if you'd like, you can just simply text FC COVID-19 to 919-99. It is also our hope that any donors will choose the option to cover any payment processing fees or credit card transactions. I thank you again for taking time to watch this and appreciate your consideration.
So we'll move on to any questions maybe anyone has here in a second, and I'll turn off the slideshow. But I just thought we'd created this special fund specifically for the COVID-19. Understand that the United Way and every nonprofit in your community challenges from the COVID crisis when it comes to their finances. Again, as we talked a little bit earlier, we're going to see a decrease in fundraising. I'll give you the example of the United Way. We talked about those workplace campaigns. That is directly tied to employment. That's people are making donations through their paychecks. We're hearing numbers of 20 to 30% unemployment. So that's what we're probably going to see in reductions. Big Brothers Big Sisters, one of their biggest fundraisers is their Bowling for Kids' Sake. It hasn't been able to, isn't going to be able to occur. So they're going to have to find a way to make up those resources. So lots of things that are going to challenge our nonprofit, and it's going to take our community coming together, those that can give more to ensure that all of these services remain available. Because so 30 programs, 24 partners that we work with here at the United Way that we just talked a little bit about, but that doesn't even kind of really touch the surface on everything that goes on in our community and the resources that are available that maybe use different funding sources, whether local churches or, you know, government programs that exist based on the grants they get from government funding that are going to be impacted as well. So it is definitely a trying time for nonprofits. And ironically, when they're probably needed more in our community. So if you're able to support, we highly encourage you to do that, whether it's with dollar or times. And hopefully I've helped you understand a little bit more about what the United Way does and our part in these, and what our partners do to support people in our community. So I would be more than happy to answer any questions that anyone may have as well.
So I'm going to jump in and just, I guess, a general question, 2 questions. I'll start with the first one and let you answer that first. What are you hearing from some of your partners on what their biggest need is right now? Is it just financial?
So right now, you know, we've raised for the special relief fund. We've exceeded 80,000. I would love to definitely get above 100,000. We still are waiting on some donations, and I'd really like it to get to about 150 to help the agencies through the next 3 months. But we've received probably 12 to 15 applications already. And yes, the big resolve is they're all seeing an increase in needs, and they seem to be managing that. The biggest challenge seems to be the financial side of it, and whether it's losing money from a fundraiser they couldn't do, or hey, this grant has been delayed, or this grant has been eliminated because of everything going on. You know, I think where we're really going to see right now, and here's what I find out, because Teresa, I know you partnered with Travis and put out and that's going to be coming out again, I think, here at the end of May to get an update, because I really feel like that they catch their breath. But I think that's where, I mean, right now they're also entrenched in their services and wanting to make sure that I don't know that they really the impact that they're feeling, but they're going to have no choice but to see what that is here in the near future. So I think the need for help and the need for money is going to grow over the next month or two. But right now, yeah, they're all feeling a little stressed from increased services, you know. But, you know, I can tell you the food pantries, where I think most people think are feeling it the most, and they are, but they're managing. They seem to be pretty well stocked and they've been able to adjust how they operate to, you know, more of a pick up and go type model and things like that. And they're getting people the food. But I think as more and more time goes by, the financial impact and the demand on all of the services and resources is going to be challenging.
So my other question comes to fundraisers and events. Have you seen or talked with some of our local nonprofits about doing these events virtually? And I mean, you know, you think about the Bowl for Kids' Sake as a good example, or even the Food Pantry Gala. You know, there are ways to do some of these events virtually, or come up with something different to do virtually. I know locally here, we've got I think it's the Center Ice Foundation that's doing a virtual horse race type of fundraiser event. So have you heard anything from some of the nonprofits on, are they trying to find ways to do things virtually?
I think those that have time right now to think about that are those that are kind of entrenched in higher level demand on their services. Again, that's where I think when they realize the money's getting tighter, that's when they're probably going to spend more time. But yes, we've been ourselves looking at those alternatives and recommending them to others to look at, you know, hey, are there alternative ways? Because the other word we have is, so United Ways and historically have had what they call blackout periods. So when we're doing our workplace campaign, we typically do not allow anyone who receives United Way funding cannot fundraise while we're fundraising. It's kind of the whole mindset of, hey, don't be asking the same people for money when we're asking for it for your benefit. Eased up over the years, and we've really tried to remove that because our fundraising has become more as well. We're doing more all year round, not just during that 3-month period, blackout period. But people are still calling me saying, hey, we were supposed to have this event and we're going to move it to the fall, or we're going to move it to the winter. And my advice to all of them has been, hey, that's fine. You have no issue with the United Way or our blackout period, but understand everyone I'm talking about trying to move their big event to the fall or winter, and there's only so much capacity that time can handle. So one thing I'm them with is creating kind of a, hey, let us know what you're doing and when you're planning on doing it, and we'll try to pull it all together and then communicate it to everyone if there is any conflicts or issues. Think about before you send information out. But again, and on top of that, dealing with the issue of has a different opinion or is heard differently, but it would seem that we're going to be quite some time with social distancing and to gather in groups. So I think, be able to hold these events in the fall and winter. We've encouraged people, including ourselves, to consider alternatives even that far out, because you don't want to get to that point and go, oh, now what do? We can't do it. But yeah, we've been trying to encourage everyone to get creative and look for, and then the challenge is, how does the community respond to that? Virtually compared to actually being able to do something in a face-to-face setting. Yeah.
Well, I know from the chamber side of things, we've traditionally done that nonprofit showcase in September-ish. And we've already looked at having to move that this year to a different month because of other scheduling issues that we've had to move. So just sitting here thinking about that and how we could help as an organization. And I'm wondering if, I'm just kind of brainstorming this. We're trying to move a lot of our stuff to virtual because we don't know when we're going to be able to do meetings in person again, or have events, or, monthly chamber luncheons. So, we may look at taking that nonprofit showcase and turning it into adopting a nonprofit on a monthly basis, and just being able to highlight or spotlight them. And maybe we have to do it twice a month because I think we usually get around 24 that participate. Maybe it's one a week where we promote that nonprofit for the whole week and try to help with fundraising efforts. So these are all things that we're, brainstorming as well on our side to say, how can we help the communities? Because our purpose of that event from the very beginning was to just bring awareness to the nonprofits in our community and what they offer and the services that they provide to our community. And the other piece of that is, yes, you want to try to connect with new, people who will give donations. In some instances, we've had people get new board members from that event, or volunteers. So it's a great way to connect with people and remind them of the services that are being provided to the community. So that's something that, we'll have to put on our list to talk with the board about, to say, do we look at adopting a nonprofit weekly for the next, several weeks out to help bring awareness, try to help with that fundraising effort, and to get people supporting those agencies that may not be able to get it otherwise.
I think that would be very helpful to the nonprofits, because one of the biggest challenges nonprofits has is because their resources are limited, and their mission is, that whole public relations and marketing piece of how do they do a better job of letting people know who they are, what they do, and how they can help.
Well, and we may be able to even build a template for them that it's a plug and play type of thing where, we've got the information for you, and you're literally just plugging it in, and
Don't come over here.
Use that to promote the organization and link back to them for donation. You know, I know you guys have almost all nonprofits, not all of them, but most of them have a donate now button on their website. So, you know, being able to link back to them or share how to donate to the organization will be a good way for us to help with that. So we'll be looking at ways that we can help with that marketing effort when we know that not everybody has that capability or, you know, opportunity to spend time putting that together. So if we can template it and it's a plug and play, and basically we're just pushing out that donation button, it could be a good opportunity. So we'll definitely take a look at that on our end.
Scott, I just wanted to add, I think you were on the email that I sent out at the end of last week. The Board of DD is working on a new program called Virtual Community. And what it's going to be is simply like a couple Zoom meetings a week that the people that we support can plug into and learn about different parts of the community. Like we thought about giving a tour of the Glass Museum, and we want to have Alley Park on there, and a lot of local businesses right now, so that we can, you know, get the word out there. People are still around, and when this ends, here's some opportunities and some new things that you might want to know about, and to get people more out and involved. But I was thinking when you guys were talking about, we can showcase fundraisers and local nonprofits on there too. Like we want to include everyone in the community, and also in Pickerington, not just Lancaster. And a couple of the places that we have talked to is the Fairfield County Visitor Center to start off, just to show there's all these opportunities that people may or may not already know about. But I think it would be a really good, place to showcase the local nonprofits in the upcoming year or so, just to keep the word out there that places are still running and we still need help.
Yeah, thank you, Rachel. Yeah, Andrea and I had talked about that, and I've encouraged her to definitely be supportive and help in any way she can. And yeah, I think being able to target nonprofits is, you know, one of the offers would be really, really beneficial.
Anybody else have any questions for Scott? Awesome. Well, again, thank you guys for joining us this morning. I know I thought about this yesterday. I was like, we probably could have pushed our start time back a little bit because, you know, 8 a.m. used to be good for the working person who has to leave the house on a daily basis. And you're up and out anyway, but we may look at our timing on these going forward. But I will just do a quick plug. We have 2 things coming up this week for the chamber. We're doing we've been doing this the last couple weeks. We're doing a PACC Connects virtual meetup on Thursdays at noon. And this week's topic will be on marketing, and really for businesses who are, you know, either still not open or are looking at becoming open within the next several weeks. How are they marketing their business to the community to say, we're open and ready for you. We've taken the precautions necessary that we need to welcome you back into our business. And so we'll be talking about marketing efforts on Thursday. And then on Friday morning, David Uhl, who's going to be speaking for our women's leadership group on leading through a crisis. So I've seen him do this presentation once already. Very good information, just kind of a nice little reminder of things that we need to do to take care of ourselves first, but also how to lead your team and your family and your community through this crisis as well. So a couple of plugs for the chamber, because, you know, we have to do that, but want to say thank you to Scott for doing this, and we've got it recorded, so we're going to see if we can get that link. Hopefully that will be no issue on my end. I'll let you know, Scott, if I have any problems. But thank you guys for joining us, and stay tuned, because I think we're going to be doing a lot more of this, and we'll get this shared out to the community, and also remind our nonprofits to and our businesses to support the foundation efforts and what you guys are doing to help raise funds for nonprofits impacted by COVID-19. Just want to say thank you guys, support the United Way and all of our nonprofits, and hopefully we'll see you Thursday or Friday morning.
Thank you, everyone.